Good evening, Billikens fans, and welcome into the Billikens Central postgame right here on STL Sports Central, presented by our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours, and our friends over at My Home Bank. Tell you a little bit more about our sponsors as we get going, but let's get into the show. 16th time out of 17 times we've come to you this year with a Billikens victory. They're 16-1 this time, handling the Fordham Rams by 22 points, a 78-56 victory, come just short of getting those Shake Shack's burgers for everybody here in attendance. They had a chance on the last shot. They decided to hold it already with a 22-point lead. Another big Billikens win. The highlights in this one, it's Kellen Thames' world, and we're all living with it. It doesn't matter how many minutes he plays. Kellen Thames is going to find a way to be one of the most important players on the floor in a Billikens game. Bottom line, tonight it was another incredible story for Thames. 18 minutes played, 16 points scored. And for the majority of the game, he had more points scored than he had minutes played. There were times when he had 8 in his first 4 minutes. He had 13 in his first 10 minutes. He had 16 in his first 14 minutes and finishes, again, 16 points in just 18 minutes played for Kellen Thames off the bench. Another incredible performance, by the way, by the bench. They are one of the top teams, 13th in the nation in bench points per game this season with 35 bench points per game. Tonight, they come up a little bit short of that. Just looks like 28 bench points from the Billikens. So a little light for them. That's why the scoring total is a little bit down beyond their usual 80-plus scoring mark. Fordham really slowed things down. That's the other big point of this game is Fordham comes out right out of the gate, and they're in the zone. Really, one of the only things the Billikens have been objectively bad at this season has been their zone offense. And tonight, it wasn't great. There were a lot of nice moments in the zone, but there was a lot of stagnant scoring. 2 different points in this game. The Billikens went 3+ minutes without scoring. 1 point in the first half. We'll get to that in a moment when we talk about our money moment of the game, but also an almost 4-minute scoring drought at times in the second half, just over 3:30. The big point, though, is off those scoring droughts, we saw the Billikens go on runs each time. When the offense just wasn't working for 3, almost 4 minutes at a point, those are the exact moments when if you stop and look at the box score, the Billikens went from letting Fordham back into the game to stepping on their throats. The first scoring drought leads to them being a close game. It was 23-22. With 8:32 left in the game, the Billikens were up 7, 23-16. A little 6-point run, though, for the Rams. Got things a little tight. It's 23-22. Josh Schertz goes to his bench. He puts in Ishan Sharma for Kellen Thames. And I know Kellen Thames has been a game changer, but it's all about feeling the moments, and that's something that Josh Schertz and his staff have been so good about this year. So they're feeling the moment. It's 23-22. They put in Ishan Sharma. He's on the floor with Quentin Jones, Deion Brown, Brady Dunlap, who got the start tonight, even though because Trey Green was out, and Robbie Avila. They proceeded to rip off a 15-2 run, go plus 13 over the next almost 4 minutes. And at that point, the game never got anywhere close again for Fordham. And that's why I think we're calling that one our money moment of the game. And our money moment of the game is brought to you by Home Bank. The exact moment in there that I'm calling the moment of the game is Billikens are fighting through a slog just before the run really gets going. They're up 33-24. Or up 31-24. Fordham's still banging a little bit. They got one of their buckets in that 15-2 run in the first couple minutes. But then Deion Brown is matched up on the left wing right in front of the scorer's table. He's got a man right in his face, but man down. The Fordham defender pulls back just slightly. Deion Brown pulls the trigger over him, hits the 3. It's 33-24. The Billikens keep their neck on the throat, push it to 38-24. They would go on another 15-0 run just off of that 3-pointer, and they would step on the throat of the Rams. That is our Home Bank money moment of the game, brought to you, of course, by our friends at Home Bank, a presenter of this Billikens Central post game. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us here at SEL Sports Central since day one as a trusted partner. Excuse me. Business isn't just about numbers. It's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Sometimes like a drink of water can. Home Bank is the team behind our team here at STL Sports Central. Please visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. That's Home Bank, member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner. 3-point shots, clutch 3-point shots really is the story of this game for the Billikens. Because again, Fordham goes into the zone, and old adage is either you're a dominant team inside to beat a zone, or you got to shoot over the top of the zone. And the Billikens at times this season haven't been able to lean on the shot the way you thought they would. But across the last 6 games, they've been shooting three-pointers at a 42% clip. Over the last 3 games in conference play, they've been shooting three-pointers at a 45% clip. What are we doing today? After today's game, they go 12 for 30 in the game. That's going to be 40%. So we'll knock it down a little bit. Through 4 games in conference play, the Billikens are probably shooting something like 44, 42% from 3. I don't care who you are. I don't care what else you do in a game. You're going to win a lot of basketball games when you're shooting 42% from 3 on volume. And the Billikens are definitely doing it on volume today. 12 of 30 for the Billikens, another 30-plus three-point attempting game from them. We got a couple chats here that we're going to get to. Corey Land in the chat early. That was a defensive clinic. Crowd was still too small for this team. Get out and watch these guys, St. Louis. Hashtag go Billikens. Not to be too critical of the fans, but I just got to wonder, if you're in St. Louis, what else are you doing on a Wednesday night? A lot of the big accounts, not John Rothstein, not Seth Davis, but hey, the big accounts that care about mid-major basketball are telling you this is one of the most fun teams to watch, not just in this conference, not just of the mid-majors, but in college basketball, full stop. And there were a lot of open seats for very good prices tonight if you're going to watch it. Billikens have another home game coming up. You're going to want to be in the building for what's going to happen here, because what do you get to see? Pretty much every game, you're seeing multiple alley-oops. And if you're not seeing multiple alley-oops, you're seeing Kellen Thames attempt alley-oops with gusto and a ferocity that I don't know if we've ever seen a player search for alley-oops in a Billikens jersey before. Old school Billikens jerseys, please jump into the chat and let me know if I'm missing somebody. But I mean, Thames is constantly just hunting the biggest and most explosive dunks that he can possibly find. He had a nice little alley-oop at one point early. Then he's hunting one where he's flying through at least 3 Fordham defenders at the rim, because Kellen Thames is just gonna do stuff like that. He's gonna break down the walls of what you think is normal for a basketball game. Hell, he's gonna break down the walls of the words I have to talk about the amazing things he's done. I'm running out of ways to talk about Kellen Thames. I need to get a thesaurus, or he needs to stop doing special things. Based on how we've seen these games, I'm gonna have to go to a bookstore much quicker than Kellen Thames is gonna have to think about doing anything else. Babe Truth 1921 jumping into the chat. Kellen Thames is at least 8. Is just going to carry this team to a tournament berth. Listen, Kellen Thames has been incredible this entire season. What he fought through last year with the health issues to come back this year, and again, he's minute limited. If you just look at the Billikens minute count, he plays 18:06. Paul Altiano plays 15:21. Other than the freshman, no one else played a lower minute count than Kellen Thames, and yet he was a dominant player. The thing that jumped out to me the most is those 13 first half points for Kellen Thames, which he puts up in 9 minutes in the first half. Strip away all the extra stuff that happens around the game when Kellen Thames is in the game. Just focus in on how easy was it for Kellen Thames to go on these scoring runs. His first shift in the game, they put him in at 13:33. The Billikens are up 11-5. He then gets a run for 4 minutes, scores 8 points, and actually only scores those 8 points across a 2.5-minute span. Then let's fast forward to the end of the first half. He goes in for his second shift with 3:46 left to play. The Billikens are up 38-27, so they're up by 9. They close out the half up by 15. Why? Or up by 14, excuse me. Why? Because Kellen Thames takes the last 3 possessions back to back to back, drives it to the hoop 2 times, gets a dunk on another play, because that's what Kellen Thames is going to do. And for him to be able to do this in these stretches, if you can extrapolate it, if they can get his minutes, to a 22-minute or 25-minute sample, and heck, in a game that isn't a 22-point difference, maybe we see them push it a little bit more. I don't know if we've really seen the Billikens needing to push his minutes yet, so I don't know what the cap is on Kellen Thames' minutes. But at this point, we're talking, the last 6 or 7 games where the majority of the time that Kellen Thames is in the game, you can count his points and his minutes almost right next to each other. And I know he fell off a little bit this past week against VCU and LaSalle, tad bit just on the scoring. He's not at double digits. I think tonight with 16 points, he might be back to being a double-digit scorer. But it's just incredible what the Billikens can do. We'll talk a little bit more about Kellen Thames once I'm able to be joined by Bob Ramsey towards the second half of this postgame show. But let's talk about who else had some nice little games. Quentin Jones, second on the team in scoring with 13. Q's really been fine in his game. 4 for 7 from the field. He also had 4 rebounds and 3 assists, a steal, and 2 block shots as well for Q. That's the exact kind of game you expect from Quentin Jones. If you saw what he did at Cal Poly, you saw what he did at Northern Illinois. If you read the scouting reports, you know he's going to fill up box scores, bottom line. And the first, non-conference schedule for Q, 3-point shot wasn't falling. He was getting to the rack consistently with reckless abandon, but he couldn't get the layups to fall. And yet the layups are falling now for Q. He had 2 or 3 really special ones. I mean, 5 or 6, 7, 8 really special layups from the Billikens tonight. Kellen had a special couple. Q had some special layups. Brady even had a nice little flick to finish for 2 points. Really was an unbelievably impressive game from Quentin Jones. Elsewhere, Amari McCottry, 12 points, really salvaged that game. He starts off in the first half. He goes just 1 for 5, and he's really struggling. First play out of the half for Amari is a turnover, his second turnover of the game. So he's staring at 1 for 5 with 2 turnovers at the very beginning of the second half. Amari McCottry then finishes 5 of 11, including hitting 2 threes, gets 3 assists, finishes with 2 turnovers. So after that opening turnover in the second half, Amari McCottry didn't turn the ball over again. And after starting 1 for 5, he would go 4 for 6 from the floor in the second half. 2 of those being 3-pointers. That is, at least I think 2 of them were 3-pointers. He went 0 for 2 in the first half, went 2 for 3 in the second half from deep for Amari McCottry. He continues to make multiple threes in games, something we didn't see from him really at all last year. Now has become a little bit of a weapon. You're a little bit worried when he starts the game 1 for 5 and 0 for 2 from deep, and yet it didn't matter. Amari McCottry stuck to his guns, think he's having a bad game, and again, goes 4 for 6 from the field, has 8 rebounds total in the game, and did not turn the ball over another time after that mistake to start the second half. Corey Land again jumps into the chat. And guys, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to be like Babe Truth and make a little blue joke, why not jump into the chat here? We'll get it up here. If you have any questions for Bob Ramsey when he sits down for me, please throw those questions in the chat. Corey Land, I don't think this team is just thinking tourney appearance. This team could make a run. I don't think anybody on this team is thinking small, is what I'll say. And right out of the gate, I know Robbie Avila isn't thinking small. They should have been in the tournament that year with Indiana State. They weren't. Obviously, last year, the idea of them being a tournament team evaporated fairly quickly, unfortunately. So I know that the leader of this team and the best player on this team is certainly thinking more than just making a tournament run. And it feels kind of fraudulent to talk about, just how good this team is. But the A-10 is not an easy conference. VCU's a good team. What they keep consistently doing and how they keep consistently doing it, because I know we usually, we can play all on they don't ask how, they ask how many, but we're gonna continue to ask how the Billikens keep doing this, because the Billikens are going to focus on how. Shirts always talks about process. When I put out clips, you're going to see a lot of times where the shot is missed. I don't care about what happens once the ball leaves Billikens players' hands. That's not what Shirts is focusing on. It's all about the process for this team. So how are they winning these games? Well, other than fouls and their lack of being able to draw fouls, other than those couple things, the Billikens are an elite team. They don't offensive rebound at a very high level. They had 8 tonight to 16 offensive rebounds for Fordham, and actually looks like they lost the rebounding battle for the first time this season. Fordham finishes with 37, the Billikens with 36. So they're not a great offensive rebounding team necessarily. They're not an elite team at everything, but overwhelming majority of things they do at least an average level, and the majority of things they do at the absolute highest level in the game. They're ranked top 20, top 15 in those kind of things in the absolute highest echelons of this game. And that's why it feels weird to talk about exactly how great this team can be, but yet everything in front of us tells us that we can't really shoot that high with this team, because every number tells us if they play this way, if they hit their threes, like if they hit 12 threes a game, and another big one, they only have 6 turnovers. A lot of these things that they've done consistently in games throughout this season. They've hit shots, they've forced turnovers, they've got out and run. But one thing they really have never done is turn the ball over only 6 times. Am I getting with Earl Austin? Let's go. Let's go. All right, a little change of pace. My apologies. We're no Rammer today. We're gonna upgrade a little bit here. We're gonna go with the awesome one, Earl Austin. I need to change that. I need to. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You'll be right. We're gonna be joined by Earl Austin on the other side. The awesome one, of course. You can hear him on KLIS Lou Information Station. Check out his podcast. He does it every Saturday morning. He talks high school sports, talks a lot of Billikens. We're going to get Earl Austin here instead of Bob Ramsey. Rammers doing some other media. No big deal. We're going to get Earl sitting down here in just a minute with us here on the Billikens Central Postgame. Before we talk to Earl, though, that leaves us a great time to talk about our friends over at DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Check them out. Use that promo code STL Sports. I don't know about you guys. I've been having a lot of fun on the DraftKings app since we got here on December 1st. And with all these playoff moments in football, DraftKings Sportsbook official app is the official betting partner of the NFL, and they make every playoff moment feeling bigger. This past weekend was so much fun with the playoff streak. I know we're going to have a lot more fun with this run. Which team are you rolling with still in this run of the NFL playoffs? That's the big question. We had kind of had a crazy week. Do you keep on rolling with a team like the Bills? Do you want to go with the 49ers and Seahawks in that divisional playoff as the West teams are battling? I don't know. As much as I want to roll with anything, I think I just got to focus in on the Texans and Patriots. I'm not saying bet the Texans Patriot game. I am saying whoever wins that game, bet them to win the Super Bowl. That's what I'm feeling right now. DraftKings has your back with early exit protection as you're building those parlays. The player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down early at any point in the first half, you can still get paid in cash. And if we're talking NFL prop bets, go with Drake May over on the passing yards. You can go to take about 225 on his alternate passing yards. That will be nice and clean. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets with your bet wins in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or call ccbg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, call dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Absolutely. All right, we are back here on the Billikens Central Postgame. I got to shift my camera here. You know, you're all good. They got a different setting. There it is. Okay. The awesome one, Earl Austin, joins us here on the Billikens Central Postgame. My apologies there. There we go. All right, another win, 16-1 now for the Billikens. Another great win, 22 points there. What did you think of this one?
I think it was a very solid win. I think Coach Josh Schertz, when we wanted VCU, he said VCU will be a test of your toughness. Mm-hmm. And he said going to LaSalle will be a test of your maturity, because coming off a big win, what are you going to, how to handle it? I thought tonight would be a test. This and the Richmond game would be a test of our discipline. Yep. Because this is a team that they had a different plan. They wanted to slow us down. Yep. They did it in multiple ways. Obviously, they played that 2-3 with the big fellas on that back line. They kept the ball in the hands of their two guards. They had long possessions. And then they hit the offensive glass, which kind of slows your roll a little bit, much like the zone defense. So I think we did a good job of just not rushing up three-point shots, working the middle, working the baseline, and not getting frustrated by things, and still had 50-40 on our shooting as well, and still played excellent defense and really forced them into tough shots. They're going to make some talented guards, but I thought they did a good job showing good discipline. It wasn't going to be a game. Not every game is going to be a knockout.
No,
105 points and knockdown. That's what fans have to realize and everything. But this was a team that, you know, they had a plan, and they stayed in it for a while. So our guys did a nice job of doing what they need to do. Play good D, hit the shots that they had to, and still finished around the basket. And I thought that was good tonight.
You talk about the discipline, only 6 turnovers.
Yes.
I mean, the way I put it on an earlier tweet was, you know, the shooting, the discipline on the shooting, the fact that they're cutting, the defense, the fact that they're running in transition, the efficiency on the offense. That's why they won this game. But the reason why it's a 22-point difference is because they weren't turning the ball over at all.
Right.
The efficiency to have the possessions. How many times last year were Schertz just talking about how, like, we had 7 less possessions than the other team. We can't win games like this. And now it's the other way around, where as long as they hit even just the bare minimum of what you expect them to hit, they're not turning the ball over. They can beat anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can't give other teams, it doesn't matter the caliber of team, you turn the ball over, they're coming back fast in transition. And nothing compromises your defensive effort, then ball security. If you turn the ball over in bad possessions and bad shots, that compromises what you do on the defensive. And it's like football. You throw an interception on your own 20. No matter what kind of great defense you got, you're in a bad spot. You know, you're giving up points like that. So I think we've got a really good half-court defense, and when we don't, like I said, when we don't turn it over, we're able to set it up. Usually our turnovers are turnovers of ambition.
I guess there are a lot of those. And also these moments when the offense is actually rolling. When the cutting would disappear, they would go on a 2 or 3 minute scoring drought. We saw a big one in the first half and a big one in the second half. But as soon as they actually executed the offense, the points followed. I think we can both say we've watched basketball teams where even if they executed, the points wouldn't follow. But if the Billikens execute, the points almost always follow. We were talking on the postgame show after the LaSalle game, and Josh was lamenting how offensively we just started having our own idea. We got the 25-point lead, and all of a sudden we started no dribble possessions, guys forcing the ball in and everything. And I mentioned the San Antonio Spurs. I told them, Coach, that's boring. People don't want to do that. See, that's why the Spurs all those years were thought of as boring, because they just did the simple plays over and over again. But it netted them 5 championships and basically a 20-year run of just excellence that we've seen. But because they didn't, outside of Ginobili, who would go off his own and he would drive Pop crazy, kind of like what Amari does with Josh. Go ahead. Sorry. Go on. I was just saying the other Spurs moment that we saw that drove shirts crazy. Paul Otieno pulled what I like to call the Boris Diaw today, which is you pass to an open shooter despite having a dunk right in front of you.
A rim rock and dunk. And as I said, that cost them the burgers tonight in 78.
You're right.
They finished with 78. But see, that's the thing. I said, you do the boring and mundane things, all the spectacular stuff comes out of that. It comes out of and that's what you talk to young people, the great stuff comes out of the foundational stuff that you keep doing over and over again. Then Kellen's always in position to make great plays. It just doesn't go, I'm going to go out there and just dunk the ball and do all this stuff. When you're in a position and do all the fundamental, mundane plays, all this stuff comes out of that. And then you just keep doing it over and over and over again. That's when you get 100 points. That's when you do that. But I think with folks and young people, when you get ambitious, then all of a sudden it goes the other way. And that's when the other team could make a run at you.
I imagine that there's not many people outside of the coaches who have coached him and the Thames family who have seen Kellen play as much basketball as you have. Has there gotten to a point where he stopped surprising you with what he's able to do and what he tries? I mean, today it's the alley-oop through the entire Fordham defense that he's attempting that I can't believe. It's just, I'm running out of words to describe what Kellen Thames does on a basketball court.
Well, Kellen always had that explosive athleticism that his father, Kelly, didn't. Kelly was a good athlete, but Kelly was a great all-around ball player. If he had not had the knee injury, he'd have had a long NBA career. But what people don't realize about Kellen is that Kelly coached him in high school at Pattonville, and Kellen played point guard his last couple of years of high school. So he learned how to play the game from that lens of a point guard. So you see him when he's attacking the rim, he can make good decisions if they cut him off. He's got a high basketball IQ, which you really don't notice when he's climbing the rim and Moss and Cats taking the ball off the rim and blocking shots, because he puts himself in a position to make plays, and then just like that play he made at LaSalle, as we talked about. He was in position to get in the passing lanes, and then it led to that between the leg pass because it happens instinctively. He's not trying to do that; it just happens. Your instincts fall in because you've put yourself in the right position to make that play, and that's what they all do.
Athleticism and instincts come together. We see this.
You get that kind of production every night, and it's fabulous to see. And I know he's going to keep it going. And then he hit a 3 tonight. Kellen shot 37% from 3 his freshman year here, playing for Travis. So he could shoot it decently, but he's now concentrating on doing all these other things to help us.
7 of 9 from the floor for Kellen Thames. That actually does increase his field goal percentage, but he can have a really good game and his field goal percentage can go down because it is upwards in the 70, 73, 74, something like that percentage. So it's going to get a little higher after tonight. Speaking of crazy athletes having some good games, Amari McCottry had a rough first half. opens the second half with a turnover, but then closes the second half, doesn't turn the ball over at all. He's hitting the glass and goes 4 of 6 from the floor in the second half. I don't know if you guys got to talk to Josh Hurts about Amari McCottry.
What are we talking about, guys?
Just
Hi.
food here and there, just, volleyball.
Hi.
Thanks. Good to see you, Amber. So I don't know if you guys got to talk to Amari, because I know obviously he frustrates the coaching staff, but he raises the ceiling of this team so much. And tonight I thought was a great example of just kind of the ups and downs of Amari McCottry.
You see him developing. You see a great two-way player developing in front of your eyes, because he, one of our plays of the game was when he blocked the shot, then dribbled down, got it back, and knocked down a three-point shot. Amari just has so much talent. Obviously, you got that 6'6", that bodies. He guards 1 through 5.
Yes.
Josh puts him on post players all the time. He did it last year with Reed Bailey and Davidson this year. 6'10" guys, because he's got the 7-foot wingspan.
He was on Whitmore tonight. He had 14 rebounds.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he can guard, point guards because of his length, and he moves his feet and everything. And then offensively, he's starting to shoot the basketball. When he shot, when he shoots what I call common sense threes, feet set, he's hit 2 threes the last 3 games. Even obviously the big one at VCU, and then obviously what he reminds me of. He's kind of a poor man's version of those San Antonio Spurs guards that you see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dylan Harper, Castle, because those guys are big. Even Keldon Johnson.
I'm thinking even like Steven Jackson back in the day.
Yeah, Steven Jackson, but I don't think Steve ever shot outside the paint.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and he was 6'4" for Syracuse.
Yeah,
he was. Steve. Yeah,
no, the 6'8"
Thompson.
Steven Jackson.
I'm saying yes.
Steven
I'm thinking Stevie Thompson.
No, from like early 2000s Spurs.
Steven
Jackson, 6'8".
Yeah, but Steven could shoot that pill.
Yeah, he could.
Absolutely. But see, that's the thing. He's so strong and physical. He's a matchup nightmare. That's why he's and like I said, he's still developing. And you got to. And then the thing is, you got to with young players, you got to let them play through mistakes and everything. And then on the other side, you see the type of player he can, because he can score in the paint and he's knocking down threes.
He gets to the paint at will. You can't stop him, and a lot of the times it's partially because of the matchup, because there's only so many 6'6" guys that you have that can stop him. But he gets to the rack at will, and Shirts always talks about QB decisions. As his decision making continues to get better, I don't know exactly what's going to stop him from becoming just an absolutely incredible player.
Yeah.
I love this comment here from Corey Land. Earl, how do you compare this team to the Rick Majerus team that was a 4 seed in the tournament?
Ooh, that would be our 2013 team. This team was probably a little longer on the bench. That last team, obviously, the 2013 had Kwame at the controls. And Kwame was one of the best point guards. We wear a Billiken uniform. He was an incredible player, and he was a big shot maker as well. And then we had, good size. And but this team is more, like I said, we got more athletes. This team, like I said, you got Amari, you got Kellen, you got Q, you got Deion. Those are all athletic slashers, and then we're all interchangeable parts. Then you throw in 6'7" Brady and 6'5", 6'6" ish. I mean, these are big, tall kids, but we're a big team in terms of we don't have the 7-footers, the 6'11", but we got a ton of 6'6" to 6'7" athletic kids with length, and they have high motors as well, and high basketball kids.
Look at the height of.
They're plus 10 rebounding going in, and we're plus 13, but we do it in a different way. Fordham, like I say, they just push you under the rim and just play volleyball, while we just we just got so many 6'7" guys, 6'6" guys that just fly around the basketball, and it's more of a team rebounding.
They had two players who played 17 or more minutes who didn't have a single rebound.
Yeah.
All 8 players who played the majority of the Billikens rotation, every single player had at least 2 rebounds.
Yeah, outside of Trey, who's small, and Trey will get in there.
He'll get in there.
But everybody is 6'5" on up, and got some pretty good athleticism as well, and they're just so active. And I think when we play good defense, you're in position, and then you got guys that get out of the area, like Paul. I think really did a good job of just second half, just getting out of their area and rebounding the basketball. It's a team. it's a team thing. We don't have a guy that's going to go get you. At times early on, Deion get your 15 rebound game. Kellen had an 18-10, but we don't have a guy that's going to consistently get you, especially in the Atlantic 10, because there's a lot of size and athleticism in our conference. So, but we got a lot of dudes that can go get you 4, 5, 6 rebounds, and then every now and then we might sprout out and get a 10 or 12.
One of the big things here, and we'll close it out with this thought. I'm going to get really technical because Samuel House saying 78 points, slow night. Yeah, the big thing, Samuel, was right out of the gate, Fordham comes out in the zone, and as I said to open the show, if you ask Josh Schertz, like the one thing that's been objectively bad about the Billikens this year, it's been their zone offense at times. But for me, they found kind of two things over the last week that they used a lot, especially in the first half, which is Brady Dunlap, obviously as a shooter, has come alive over the last 3 to 6 games, but also a lot of the first 15 games or first 13 or 14 games, Amari was doing a lot of perimeter work, obviously, because he's a ball handler. But they've been sneaking him down low and into the dunker spot over the last 3 or 4 games, and he has been really good. One of the VCU play we don't talk about because of what happened is before the three-pointer, SLU's up 61-60. And before the three-pointer, the previous possession, they had Amari wide open on the dunker spot, and he tried to reverse layup, and it just bounced out. If he hits that layup, we never have to talk about the three-pointer because Amari was in a perfect spot on the dunker spot and got there. He did it a couple times against LaSalle, and then after maybe 1 or 2 bad possessions, they started just feeding him to that spot, and it really started working.
Absolutely, and that's just the beauty of his size and ability. And then Robbie out top makes the pass. I mean, we got, especially Robbie, we got a lot of guys who can make that pass. Usually you're used to seeing Kellen in that dunker spot, but then now you see, like you say, now you're seeing Amari. And that's the thing, when you have interchangeable parts, you can put different people down in the mix, and it could be Brady down there once, even though he likes to drive it and catch, and obviously Paul on the back end of an alley-oop, but Q as well, because, you got big guards, they can post up and play in that spot.
And I tell you what, I saw another one in the LaSalle play. There was one moment where they ran an off-ball screen where the players, it's the weak side, so the players sagging off Kellen, who's in the corner. They're sagging off Kellen at the block. They screen Robbie on that guy to open up Kellen with a wide open screen on the dunker spot on that block. And I'm like, okay, they're game planning now to get this dunker spot open. And for those of you just kind of tuned in, that's the blocks, dunker spot, same thing. Just watch how many times the Billikens just have Thames or McCottry just sitting on that block, and how many times, whether it's Brady, whether it's Q, every single person on this team is comfortable with that little drop-off pass to the dunker spot, and it's been such a huge boon to the transition offense and to the half-court offense, more so than you'd expect over the last 3 or 4 games.
See, teams kind of relax because they see that Kellen and Amari aren't prolific three-point shooters like everybody else. So they may slough off a little bit and relax. And then I think we use that to our advantage as well. Because I remember Danny Hurley used to do that with Castle when he was there, and run some very beautiful stuff to get him, whether they screen off the ball and everything. And we see that type of stuff because you're going to relax and you don't realize. Because you saw in that first half, Kellen got 3 or 4 buckets.
Right in a row.
Not even just moving. Just moving it, and Q was in trouble and he cut. So Josh just does a great job of just maximizing the strengths of his players, regardless of what spot they are on the floor. And this team they're still evolving. That's the thing about it. They're still getting better, still learning.
That's the thing I keep trying to tell people.
And the thing is, we're going to be a lot better on February 13th, 14th, 15th than we are in the middle of January as they, continue to, evolve and play together.
That's Earl Austin. He is the color man on the SLU broadcast. You can catch on KMOX 104.1. A lot of plaudits here. You got Samuel House saying SLU does have the best radio team in the biz. I, of course, agree with that. Pleasure to get to be joined on these shows by Earl Austin and by the play-by-play man, Bob Ramsey, who was unable to join us today. He'll be on, I think, our next postgame. That's going to be Saturday afternoon. The Billikens host Richmond. Richmond looking good this year. 13-5 are the Spiders. So another Billikens home match this weekend. It's Saturday with a 3 p.m. tip-off. That means you can catch the pregame on 104.1 with our boy Earl and Rammer starting at 2:50 on 104.1 on KMOX. Again, broadcast here at 3 p.m. in Chaffetz. Get your tickets. You'll see it from the national people. We'll say it as well. It's the most fun team to watch in college basketball. It's an incredible building. And what else are you doing at 3 o'clock on this Saturday? You're not doing much else. You're coming here to watch the Billikens because they're the most fun team. They're the hottest team in St. Louis. They're a blast to watch. And you might get to see Earl pregame when he's taking pictures of the band and things like that. And that is a pleasure in and of itself, just like it was for you to join me. Thank you so much, Earl. Billikens win again, 78-56. They're back in action on Saturday, 3 p.m. tip-off against Richmond, and we will be here for the postgame right here on Billikens Central. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night.